to serve northeastern and central Pennsylvania. This is WNET TV 16, the news station. Now, Nolan Johannes, Karen Hart, Jack Ruland in SciCam 16, meteorologist Tom Clark with his backyard forecast, and Tim Carl through sports. This is Newswatch 16.
Some of the people in our area who give medical care to the elderly and disabled accuse the federal government of not paying the bills, forcing home health care agencies out of business. Tonight we have part 2 of Dr. Steve Greenberg's Health Watch 16 investigative report, Does Medicare Care a Home Nursing Nightmare? In tonight's segment, we learn it's a problem that not every agency will talk about openly.
And this home health agency director says he just gave Medicare $128,000. A payback for claims denied by Medicare. Since 1984, he says denials for doctor-ordered care are up more than 3,000%, and he's cut his nursing staff by more than half.
Last year, we lost almost $250,000, and there's no organization, to my knowledge, can afford 2 years or any more years like that. Elderly patients, we have provided catheterizations and things such as this, which should be done by a skilled professional nurse. Medicare has made the decision that it was not skilled. The person did not need the catheterization done. We have had services provided to patients denied. We appealed it. We felt very strongly the service was entitled, or the patient was entitled to the service, and it should have been paid for.
A Medicare spokesman says it wants to pay all medically necessary benefits. The home health agency isn't satisfied with the decision. They can appeal the decision or resubmit the claim to Blue Cross of Philadelphia. Blue Cross of Philadelphia handles Medicare payments in Pennsylvania.
Well, they have a 60 days to submit it, but how long do you have after they have 60 days to submit it? How long do you have to get a decision on a reconsideration? Well, currently right now there really isn't any. If there is like they're coming up. Right now, I can take as long as we want to reevaluate something. That's it. Okay, and that's true of each state. If someone says it 3 times, each time you can take as long as you feel you need to. That's right. That's right.
Marion Kearns is the former president of Pennsylvania Association of Home Health Agencies and runs a visiting nurse business in Kingston. While Blue Cross eventually pays on 25% of the appeals, Kearns says delays can be a nightmare.
So you could be denied in, let's say, January 86 and not have the process finished until 1989 or later.
Beneficiary has an appeal mechanism to appeal the case, and then it's reviewed all over again. Separately, distinct new personnel look at it. So there is a safety net.
I don't think it's safety net at this point. I think it's a mechanism to save federal dollars, and that's all it is.
Now, the top official at Medicare's regional office told me there's absolutely no pressure from anywhere in the federal government to cut home health care payments, even though it is the fastest-growing segment of the 21-year-old Medicare program. And one more thing. There are no details, but Medicare is working on the possibility of starting a time limit for all appeals. How does it affect you, the patient? All of that tomorrow night in part 3 of Does Medicare Care a Home Nursing Nightmare? I'm Dr. Steve Greenberg, Health Watch 16. Nolan?
Imagine you take your $250 watch for repairs and months pass, you don't have it back, and you have no idea when or if it will be fixed. A Carbon County viewer says until Action 16's Jerry Gartenberg stepped in, that was the situation she was facing.
I'm not a complainer, but when they get me mad enough, I will. And they did.
Susan Bannock says she never expected to be without her Seiko watch for 5 months after leaving it with the Bailey Banks and Biddle jewelry store in Whitehall. But she says all her phone calls and letters there still left her playing a guessing game about why the store hadn't replaced the damaged crystal.
They would just say that it's hard to get, or then another place would say, well, it'll be in any day now. And, it'd be like 2 different stories. It'll be in any day, or else, it's going to take a while to get. Nobody seemed to know what was going on, but that's why I thought it was lost, for sure.
After Action 16 wrote the store, the Nesquahoning woman got her watch back, new crystal and all. The manager who handled the complaint tells me his repairman couldn't come up with a crystal for the discontinued watch. When I told the manager Vanek was tired of waiting, he sent the watch to a Seiko parts supplier in Philadelphia, and that did the trick. But Susan Bannock thinks the store should have taken action a lot sooner.
And if the person does complain, as often as I did, and go in, they should give you a little more service than what they did. And try to pay attention to your needs like that, and not just push you aside.
You know, folks, sometimes there are good reasons why a company can't get things moving for you in a timely way. But in those cases, you deserve a timely explanation. If you feel things are moving too slowly, I'll watch out for you. Just write to me, Jerry Gartenberg, Action 16.
You bet he will. Jerry Gartenberg sends your complaint for action to Action 16, Box 16, Avoca, Pennsylvania, the zip code 18641. And the Weather Watch is next. Our Chief Meteorologist Tom Clark all set to go.
Boy, Jerry should have my job this week. No complaints whatsoever.
That's for
It's
sure.
magnificent. And when we come back, we'll look ahead to the weekend, and I'll show you where that tropical storm is headed. And you're watching Newswatch 16 on WNEP TV, and we're proud to serve Clark Summit and all of Lackawanna County.
Hi, I'm John Luciani. Concrete Step manufacturers and installs precast steps year-round. Here's some of the steps we take. Concrete units are manufactured under quality, consistent conditions. Units are delivered by crane and generally installed within the hour. There's no mess or cleanup, and the steps can be used immediately. We also install iron railing. You take the next step. Call Concrete Step Units today. It's a step in the right direction.
For the great taste of fresh quality fruits and vegetables, pick the best. Pick table spread. And scoop up for savings on smooth, creamy Steel Test ice cream. Half-gallon container, $1.99. And serve a delicious cup of fresh brewed Folgers coffee. 1-pound can, $1.79. For smooth on the zesty taste of Hellman's mayonnaise. 1-quart jar, $1.49. A perfectly beautiful day today, and as Tom says, no complaints, right, Tom?
No complaints, Nolan. Not after we've had one of the best 10 days of the year, I think, and just a magnificent spell of August weather, and it looks like it's going to continue. Beginning tonight in Wayne County, where Marcia Crane tells me 72 at her place in Sterling, with a blue sky overhead. Steve Ferreira in Webwood, Clinton County, tells me it's beautiful at 78, and Neil Weiser in Bloomsburg checks into the warm 84 and sunny. Next, a view shot today of the Wilkes-Barre-Scranton International Airport. See kind of a light wind up there today. The elevation of the airport, 930 feet above sea level. In the backyard now, we have a very comfortable reading of 80 degrees. The humidity is comfortable, low today, 41%. The wind is southeast at 7. The barometer falling from 30.07. High temp here today, 81 degrees. That is normal. 52 last night. We had some reports of temperatures in the 40s. At dawn today, and I think that will happen again tomorrow morning. 96, the record high set back in 1944. Checking Skywatch 16's live Doppler radar. No rain being detected within 200 miles of home tonight. Nice, clear evening. Most of you have probably seen meteors before. You know, we're having the Perseid meteor shower this week. The peak is about this time of the week. And they're higher than you think. Most meteors occur between 50 and 60 miles high in the atmosphere, and they travel at phenomenal speeds, at or greater than 50,000 miles per hour. And they're made from little tiny specks of debris that are no bigger than the head of a pin. And don't worry about the finish in your car. Most of them don't reach the ground, but it is estimated that over the entire Earth, there must be about 25 million meteors each day that enter the atmosphere and burn up and are bright enough to be visible. But, hey, this shot is just in here. There is Tropical Storm Arlene out over the western Atlantic, and we can get a closer view of that. Latest report, this is just in from the Hurricane Center, 6 o'clock this evening. The storm is moving towards the east-northeast, away from the U.S. mainland. And it looks like some big thunderstorms and rain squalls will hit Bermuda over the next 24 hours. Top winds in the storm now 50 miles per hour. This high is going to control our weather for the next few days. Upper air winds are very weak, and so it's not going to go very far between now and over the weekend. A clear, crystal clear night tonight, some valley fog in areas, and 48 in Clark Summit, about 47 in Long Pond, a heavy dew on the lawn later on tonight, light winds. Sunrise time tomorrow morning is 6:10, and the sunset time tomorrow 8:06. Clear tonight. Good night for stargazing. Moonrise is 11 o'clock tonight. We'll interfere a bit with watching the Perseid meteor shower. Sunny the next 2 days, low 80s. Partly cloudy on Saturday. Should be a dry weekend, Nolan, but it will be getting very warm.
All right. We'll look forward to all of that. Thanks, Tom.
Yes.
Tim Carlson's next with the Sports Watch. He'll tell you which of our teams won in today's Little League State Playoff. Plus, one more stop at the Eagles training camp. Now more than ever, Pickway is your action shoe store. Not only for the hundreds of styles they have in stock, but also for nationally famous brand names. Names like Nike, styles from Adidas, and Puma for the whole family. Or how about LA Gear, Stacey Adams, or these famous Converse court shoes. And this week, these styles by Nike, Adidas, LA Gear, Puma, Stacey Adams, and Converse are 25% off Pickway's already low price. How's that for a deal? This week at Pickway Shoes. Both of our area teams still in the state championships, huh?
Matter of fact, Nolan, it's going on right now as we speak at Lehigh Little League Field in Bethlehem. The second day of the state championship playoffs, and the two teams from this area playing each other. The game underway at 6 o'clock, and right now the score in the top of the second inning, Carbino Club from Lackawanna County and Montoursville from Lycoming County, 0-0. The winner moves on to Saturday's championship game. The loser will have to play again tomorrow to stay in the running for the title. We'll have complete highlights tonight on the Sports Watch update at 11. Another wild one between the Cubs and Phils at the Vet this afternoon, and another wild win for the Phils to complete the sweep of the series. Picking up top of third, 3-2 Phils, but Andre Dawson takes Team Raleigh Dukes for home run number 35 and 3 runs, and it's 5-3 Cubs. But the Phils get the lead right back in the bottom of the inning. Von Hayes with a 3-run shot to tie his career high, 19-6-5 Phils. On to the eighth, tied 7-7. Juan Samwell with the grand salami off Ed Lynch. Sammy's 22nd, a record for Phil's second baseman. 11-7, the Phils up, and they win it 13-7 and get the sweep at Shea. The Mets took care of the Expos again, tied 1-1 in the fourth. Mookie with a base hit, and it's played by Herm Winningham. Darryl Strawberry scores. It's 2-1 Mets. Then in the fifth, Mookie with another hit to score Wally Backman. It's 4-1 Mets. Ron Darling won his fifth in a row. The final 4-2 Mets. Here's the scoreboard now. By the way, on Juan Samwell's Grand Slam homer, Ada Miner from Hazleton won $5,500 in the Daily News home run payoff. Way to go, Ada. Mets over Montreal 4-2 to 5 back of the Cards. In the seventh, San Francisco 2, Houston 1, and it's now in the eighth inning. San Francisco with a grand slam goes up 8-1 over the Astros. Another live update. AL scoreboard now in the sixth and seventh inning. Detroit leads Chicago 6-5. Texas 12, Milwaukee 3. That's the final. And in the seventh, Oakland is trailing Seattle 4-1. Let's wrap up our series of reports from the Eagles training camp today with the guys on defense. And even though head coach Buddy Ryan had little or nothing to say, Sports Watch 16's Tom Tidy gives us a pretty good idea on what to expect from the Birds' defenders.
Going into the 87th season, Coach Buddy Ryan is confident about his defense.
Do you expect the 46 to run much smoother in its second year now?
Oh, sure. Should. Everything should be a lot smoother.
Last year, things weren't so smooth as Philadelphia lost 10 of its 16 games. Last year, the Eagles not only had to learn to understand Buddy Ryan, but they had to learn to understand his 46 defense. Now in its second season, the 46 might be the difference the Eagles are looking for.
I think everyone this year put the time in. I think that every guy's more knowledgeable where they have to be and what their assignments are. And the big thing I've noticed this year so far is that the guys know where their help's going to be, and that's a big part of the defense. Once you know where your help's going to be, it makes the defense work a lot better.
The defensive line this season will be anchored by Pro Bowl MVP Reggie White and veteran defensive tackle Ken Clark. Clark, who's played in 137 consecutive games for Philadelphia, knows what it takes for the Eagle defense to click.
Reggie in the 46 is a key position, and the tackles, have to have the big responsibility in it. But the three interior linemen, I think the biggest responsibility we have, the most pressure we have on us, is in passive situations in that defense to get pressure on the quarterback.
If the Eagles expect to pressure the quarterback, then they will need help from their secondary. And ironically, the four starters from last year's team missed the beginning of camp because of contract problems.
We've got to get these guys in to win, and I think we need to get them there as soon as possible because you need to work with the people you're going to play with. We've got some people who I don't know, I don't think, knowing the guys that they're making outlandish demands upon the Eagles for a contract, so hopefully they'll get them in here because it is important to our football team, and I think we're on the threshold of having a great team.
Last season, Philadelphia lost half their games by a total of 3 points or less. And while the old cliché states that the best offense is a good defense, it would be hard to convince the Eagles that. This year, the Eagle defense will have to prove it. Tom Tidy, Sports Watch 16 at the Eagles training camp at Westchester University.
We'll talk Giants on Monday.
All right. Hope Ada was listening today.
Oh, she was. I talked to her.
All right. Thank you. When Newswatch 16 continues, a wall that has been a moving experience for those who see it. We'll show it to you next.
Dominic, can you get rid of those little black bugs? They sort of look like, Oh, how about those? Oh, you know, they can anything, like that.
No matter what, Bobby, you call service. We can handle the toughest problem and keep it from coming back.
Excuse me, did you get the,
No more bugs, no more worries.
Finally tonight, it is called The Moving Wall. And for many families of Vietnam servicemen and the returning vets themselves, it is moving indeed. The traveling replica of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial installed in Washington has been set up at the Abington Elementary School in Chinchilla, Lackawanna County, brought here by the Abington area veterans of the Vietnam War, Post 40. It is half the size of the real memorial, but is serving much the same need. What many believe is therapeutic relief for both servicemen and people at home who lived through the unpopular conflict. There are 58,000 names on that wall of Americans killed, missing, or taken prisoner. It'll be at the elementary school grounds through next Tuesday. That's our report for tonight. See you in the update.